New tonight, he was once known as America's mayor, but today Rudy Giuliani got a rough reception in a Phoenix courtroom. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight for 12 News at 6. A Maricopa County judge imposed tough conditions on Giuliani after he dodged a summons to respond to charges in Arizona's so-called fake electors case.
12 News journalist Bram Resnick was in the courtroom today as 11 defendants entered not guilty pleas. He explains why Giuliani is the only one now required to guarantee that he'll show up in court. Bram?
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani is one of 18 defendants in the fake electors case. They're accused of conspiring to toss out Joe Biden's Arizona victory in 2020 and return Donald Trump to the White House. Giuliani was Trump's lawyer after the 2020 vote. Until today, he'd been ducking the Arizona charges for weeks. Rudy Giuliani was on the move.
I haven't been hiding from anyone.
The one-time America's mayor left his New York home for Florida during the 3 weeks after his indictment on 9 felony charges in Arizona's fake electors investigation.
I've been on the radio, on television and the radio every day since this indictment started, announcing where I am.
Attorney General Chris May's agents had gone to where Giuliani was, his Manhattan condo tower.
My agents attempted to serve the summons there, were refused entry into the building to serve that summons.
Then late last week, Giuliani taunted Mays in a tweet from his Florida birthday party. It began, "If Arizona authorities can't find me by tomorrow morning." Just 46 minutes after that tweet, May's agents served Giuliani with a summons to show up in court Monday. He called in by telephone.
Due to the challenges that we've had serving him a summons.
Now Arizona prosecutors want Giuliani to come to them. The judge agreed with prosecutor Nicholas Klingerman's request to require Giuliani to show up in court in Arizona within 30 days. The former crime-busting DA also has to post a $10,000 bond to guarantee he shows up.
We certainly don't have any regrets for anybody exercising their right of freedom of speech, their right to ask accountability of their government officials.
A lawyer for 2 other prominent defendants said their actions were protected by the First Amendment. Former Arizona Republican Party Chair Kelly Ward and her husband Michael Ward both entered not guilty pleas. We're taking a legal deep dive into the fake electors case. Joining me now is Mark Kakanovich. He's a former federal prosecutor in Arizona who now represents white-collar clients in civil and criminal cases. Welcome back.
Thank you, Bram.
I need to say all defendants are innocent until proved guilty into a court of law. We stick to that. If you were crime-busting prosecutor Rudy Giuliani back in the day, would you have stood for former Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani defying a summons for 3 weeks?
No, absolutely not. It's shocking that he did that. It's shocking what he said today. He's not acquitting himself or acting like a former prosecutor.
Well, break that down. What was shocking to you based on what you heard in court?
Well, he said he could handle it himself. Lawyers should not be representing themselves in criminal trials. He said that he hadn't read the indictment yet. The indictment has been publicly available for weeks now. You would think that a former prosecutor would take this more seriously than he was. He wasn't taking it very seriously. He didn't even bother to show up today. He called in. He was late when he called in. Not a very great performance.
Now, how severe are the conditions imposed by the judge? Because there are no conditions on any of the 11 other defendants who've already entered a plea.
Right. The conditions were self-imposed, basically, because of the shenanigans that he pulled by not responding to the subpoena or the summons earlier, right? He had the opportunity to reach out to the prosecutors. He had the opportunity to get counsel. He still hasn't he doesn't have counsel. That's just mind-boggling to me that a former prosecutor would do that.
What were Chris May's options after last week? What happened last week if they haven't found him by Friday night? What were her options?
Well, she would have been able to present to the court all of the things that they were trying to do, just like they did today, to show that he needed to have a bond imposed on him to assure that he would show up in court. He has a bond in the Georgia case as well. And so this bond is a relatively light one, but he's the only one, as you said, that has a bond. Everyone else is acting like adults and showing up on their own.
Could a court have issued an arrest warrant?
They could have, yes.
How common is that?
Well, it'd be exceedingly rare for a former prosecutor to be arrested when they're charged with crimes. It's exceedingly rare for a former prosecutor to be charged with crimes, but we are in a crazy time.
Let's flip this over to the defendant's side. We heard from Kelly Ward and Michael Ward's attorney today. They entered not guilty pleas. Their lawyer argues this is a First Amendment case for them, free speech. They had the right to do what they did, which is to sign a form saying they were the duly elected electors for Donald Trump, despite the fact that Joe Biden's electors actually were the duly elected ones. He also said the charges weren't defined. How do you read that?
Well, I've read the indictment, and the indictment is long, and we've talked about this before, Bram. Everyone should read the indictment. The indictment speaks for itself, and the indictment is a speaking indictment. So the charges are very well defined, and they're enumerated, and there's a long list of exactly what the lies were and what the benefit was that they were seeking to get. And people say that this is a victimless crime. I've seen people say that. Talk to the people who were actual victims of the lies that these people were telling. Talk to Rusty Bowers about whether or not this was a victimless crime. Talk to the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. Talk to Stephen Richer. These people have been victims of this lie, and this lie continues to this day. No one has the First Amendment right to commit fraud. And the First Amendment isn't mentioned in the indictment. The charges are out there. The charges are white-collar charges that anyone can be accused of when they commit them.
I got to end it there. Mark Kokonovich, thanks so much for joining us. Let's send it back to you.